What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Lucrecio back at you with another video. This is my free agency video slash wrap up of NBA Finals slash NBA trade. So, first of all, congratulations to the Cleveland Cavaliers for having just a great win, a great championship. They came back from 3-1. First two games didn't play well at all. Game 3, they won at home. Game 4, they lost at home to go down 3-1. Game 5, Draymond Green suspended. Kyrie Irving, LeBron balled out. They looked like the two best players on earth in that game. Game 6, they won at home. Game 7, Game 6, they had great contributions from Kyrie Irving and Tristan Thompson played really, really excellently at home. And LeBron James had a tremendous game. In my opinion, his Game 6 performance was better than Game 5 performance. And his Game 5 performance was great. Game 7, tightly contested game, very exciting. If you had no dog in the fight, it was just a great game to watch. If you had a dog in the fight, it was nerve-wracking the whole game. Especially at the end when nobody can score when they were tied at 89. LeBron had a crazy save block or whatever. The chase down block like he does. Tremendous athleticism. You saw him. And I saw it coming because like you could see him like kind of pushing Klay Thompson out of the way. That's how fast he was running. Passing up people who were running full speed on a fast break to go catch the ball. It was tremendous athletics. Kyrie Irving hit the clutch game winner. Well, what ended up being basically the game winner right over Stephen Curry. Did not hesitate. He knew exactly what he was going to do. He took a shot. I didn't even expect it. It was just out of nowhere. It was about 54 seconds to go on the clock, I believe. He does like a quick little dribble move, then a little small step back. Just elevates over Steph Curry and then just lets off. Just a beautiful game winner. Just the craziest thing that you'll see. Just beautiful, thing of beauty. Makes the game winner. LeBron James almost had the capper. He went to dunk on Draymond Green. Draymond Green pushed him. He fell. It looked like he broke his arm at first, but he ended up being okay. Missed the first free throw, hit the second free throw. Steph Curry comes back down, tries to shoot a 3 to get closer, misses. Maurice Spates gets the rebound, tries to dribble behind the line. No time left. Shot was pointless. Everybody rejoices. The Cavs won the championship. LeBron's crying. It was just something to be seen. If you missed the game, you missed probably one of the best Game 7s that you'll see in the NBA Finals history. Of course, I haven't seen every last one of them, but like I said, one of the greatest. So, congratulations to the Cavs. LeBron, Finals MVP, of course. Led both teams in all the main categories: blocks, steals, points, rebounds, assists. Insanity. Kyrie Irving was also excellent. That whole series, in my opinion, Game 1, even though he got some flack, I felt like he kept them close. He kept bringing them back. Game 2 didn't play well. Game 3 played well. Game 4, he was a little bit too much aggression, taking a lot of bad shots when they necessarily didn't have the momentum, but still played good in my opinion. And then Game 5 was excellent. Game 6 was excellent. Game 7 was excellent. So Kyrie Irving, to me, took a step in the NBA Finals. Was really, really great. I think next year he's going to be widely considered one of the top 10. And he's going to move up. I think he's going to have a crazy season. I think you're going to see him on all the commercials and billboards all summer. I just think Kyrie Irving is that next star in the NBA, taking that step. You win a championship, it raises your stock a lot. And Kyrie Irving, he started off hot. Now I feel like his popularity kind of tapered down a little bit. Now I feel like it's going to shoot through the roof. All right, so that's the NBA Finals. So right after the Finals, we saw some player movement and things of that nature. So that was pretty interesting. We saw Derrick Rose get traded from the Bulls to the Knicks. It was quite. In my opinion, it wasn't a great trade for the Bulls. They got Jose Calderon, what's his name, Robin Lopez, and Grant, the rookie. I don't think that's a lot for Derrick Rose. It's a weird trade. I just feel like they were just trying to move on from the Derrick Rose era, which I understand. The Knicks got him. I really feel like he's going to be a good player for the Knicks. Last season, he wasn't really plagued by injuries as much as he's been. I believe he played 66 games last season. If he can keep that up this upcoming season, I would sign a good backup for him. I would try to find a good backup for him. But other than that, I really feel like they have a chance to have a good team with him and Carmelo, with him being Carmelo's point guard. So I like that move for the Knicks, and that's kind of the type of moves the Knicks have to do. The guys that are on top right now aren't particularly interested in a New York Knicks, so they kind of have to step back and get kind of the players who aren't necessarily the marquee players now, but who they believe can still contribute and still be, quality players. So anyway, good trade for the Knicks in my opinion. Bad trade for the Bulls. I feel like they could have got more than that for Derrick Rose. Another one that we saw during the draft, which was an insane trade. I didn't expect it. When I saw it, I was like, I gasped. I was like, what? Victor Oladipo is leaving the Magic to go to the OKC Thunder. So, assuming that the Thunder were to retain Kevin Durant's services, it would be Westbrook, Oladipo, Kevin Durant, somebody filling that 4 position. Whoever, I'm assuming they're trying to sign somebody, and Steven Adams, probably Cantor if they want to keep Cantor in that position as Steven Adams, which is crazy. That's a whole lot of talent on a team. Obviously, they traded for Serge Ibaka, so Serge Ibaka for Victor Oladipo and Ilyasova. I thought it was a good trade for OKC. I thought they had to shake it up a little bit, get more talent, and I feel like that's what they did. They filled the talent gap at their weakest position. So I like what they did. I thought that was a good trade. Then Indiana got better. Indiana acquired Jeff Teague from Atlanta, which I thought was a very good trade as well. They also got Thaddeus Young in a trade, and then they followed that up by getting Al Jefferson as well. So I thought they were all solid moves. I thought Indiana got a lot better just in one off season. So naturally, that's pretty good. Okay, so moving on. We kind of covered some player movement. We covered the championship. Now we're going to talk about free agency. Now, this free agency period is the craziest free agency period that I've ever seen. First of all, the first thing you notice are the crazy amounts of money being tossed around. Everybody's getting them 4-year, $53 million. It's ridiculous. Everybody. So I decided, instead of doing my normal video providing my analysis on what's going on in the NBA, I'm going to use this opportunity to turn this video into an audition. I'm joking. But so starting off, I created a little rating system for the free agents and their contracts. So basically, I took what I perceive to be their impact on the team or their value on the team versus the amount that they got paid, right? So that's how I'm rating these players. So starting off, I'm gonna start off with the biggest contract that we saw this off season. So far, Mike Conley. So Mike Conley received $153 million for 5 years from Memphis. I rated this contract a 4 out of 5, because I feel like Memphis had to make this deal. There are no point guards better than Mike Conley in this crop. And if you watch any of my videos prior, you know I'm a fan of Mike Conley. I think he's an excellent point guard. Um, he's he's not like a superstar in this league because of popularity, but I do feel like he's a very, very good point guard by the definition of a point guard. He controls the pace. He's a good passer. He plays defense. He can shoot. He can do everything you need a point guard to do. I feel like he's a very, very good player. So I rated that a 4. They had to do it. There was no other point guard for them to pick up had he walked, and he was thinking about walking. So they had to lock him up for the foreseeable future. So 4 for that contract, even though it was really high, I felt like it was necessary. Second contract that made big news is Al Horford getting $113 million for 4 years in Boston. Now, this one came as a surprise to me. I actually believed that Al Horford was going to sign with OKC. I thought he was going to fill in that 4 position for OKC. From what I understand, Durant and his agent were like really, really trying to recruit Horford to go over, but apparently Horford was turned off by the fact that there was no guarantee that him and Westbrook would sign long term, and that he would end up leaving to go there and they could potentially bolt. So he chose Boston to go play with Isaiah Thomas and Avery Bradley, and what's my dude with the long braids? I can't even remember his name. But yeah, a bunch of like really tough defensive players, and I don't love the move. I don't even really feel like, what were they, about the 6th seed this season in the playoffs, I believe, or 5th or 6th seed. I don't even think it makes them that much better. It's weird. I don't think they're finished. They did draft Jaylen Brown in the draft, which I feel like is going to be a good player for them in the future. I don't know how good he's going to be right off the back. I like Jaylen Brown. I watched a lot of his. I didn't get to see a lot of his games necessarily, but from watching the highlights, I watched him a lot. I watched him in high school too. But as far as the college games, I saw he used to get most of his points at the basket. With that being the case in the NBA, I don't know that he will get to the basket as easily as he did in high school and college. So his outside game, his mid-range game would need to grow a lot. So we'll see. But even with that being the case, I don't see Boston being that much greater with Al Horford. I don't know about that decision. They're not finished, I'm assuming. They'll have to get somebody else if they really want to try to take over the East. Next contract I want to rate is Marvin Williams. And another thing, I'm not rating every single contract signed. I just chose the contracts that I want to go ahead and talk about a little bit in these videos. So Marvin Williams to the Charlotte Hornets. And they were able to sign him at $54.5 million for 4 years. This contract I thought was pretty reasonable. Even though Marvin Williams is not a like star player or whatever, he's a very important player to that team. He's a big part of what they do, what Charlotte does, and what makes them successful. And with that being the case, I didn't think $54 million for 4 years was like a steep price to pay for Marvin Williams, considering the amount of money we've seen. And that's one of the lower contracts that we've seen. And I thought that was very reasonable considering. Another contract, this one's kind of weird that I'm going to throw in there. So I rated Marvin Williams a 5. Anthony Tolliver signed for $16 million for 2 years with the Kings. Now, I rated this a 1.5, so I know most of you are like, well, why would you even mention it in this video? Because it's a low impact. And then they probably overpaid. I like Anthony Tolliver, though. I think he's a player that could help a really good team. Like, I thought the Cavs should try to get him as like another backup, stretch 4 or whatever, in case, somebody gets injured next season or whatever the case may be. I think he's a serviceable role player. But yeah, that being the case, I'm not going to talk about Anthony Tolliver too much more on this. I rated that move 1.5. I don't see the point of the Kings getting him. I don't even know how much he's going to play with the Kings. And the Kings are just bad, so I don't even know what they could really do to really. They made a lot of moves this offseason, though, so they are trying something. Um, Moving on, Ryan Anderson. I rated this move a 3. This contract a 3. Ryan Anderson signed for $80 million for 4 years with the Houston Rockets. So the Rockets made some interesting moves today in the past couple of days as well. I will. We'll see. We'll see what happens with Ryan Anderson. Dwight Howard has gone from Houston. I don't. They have Mike D'Antoni is the new coach, so I'm assuming they're really gonna try for this 3-point shooting and kind of give up on defense. It looks like we'll see what happens. I don't love it, but we'll see what happens. You're not gonna win like that, but you're definitely not gonna win a championship like that. But you may, if they can do it right, they may be able to win a lot of games during the regular season and try to make some playoff runs. But I don't love the direction of the team. But that being said, I also thought it was just ironic that Ryan Anderson comes to the Rockets now after we lose Dwight Howard, when I always thought he was like one of the best complementary players to Dwight Howard. If you have a quote unquote dominant center, you always want to have like a 4 that's able to shoot from distance to try to give Dwight Howard some space to work down low. So I always like Ryan Anderson with Dwight Howard, but apparently now the Rockets got Ryan Anderson when Dwight Howard leaves. So I just thought that was odd. Okay, moving on. Rated that one a 3. Bismack Biyombo signed a $72 million contract for 4 years with the Orlando Magic. Now, I rated this a 3. We all knew Bismack Biyombo was going to get paid after what he did in the playoffs. We'll see. That contract is a lot of money. It's a lot of money for a center with no offensive game. He plays a lot of defense, and he can get you a lot of rebounds. He can get you some rebounds sometimes. But we'll see. Anyway, I rated that one a 3. I do think it will impact the Magic, who I don't think are that much better, though. So they got Serge and Bismack. Interesting. It's just interesting the direction they're taking that franchise in. I don't know that it will pay off anytime soon. So next thing is Aaron Aflalo. I rated this deal a 2. He got $25 million for 2 years with the Kings. Another odd Kings signing. The Kings are signing players almost as if like they have a core set and they want a couple veterans to come in, specialty veterans. And it's weird because the Kings don't have anything. Like they have absolutely nothing. So I don't really understand why they're the type of players that they're trying to bring into that team. They have DeMarcus Cousins and Rondo's leaving, and they have nothing. Rudy Gay's leaving. So the signings that they have made are just odd. Almost like they're making moves just to make a move. But that being the case, I rated that a 2. The Lakers signed Luol Deng to a $72 million contract for 4 years. I rated this a 1 because it doesn't make any sense. Like, Luol Deng is a very good. Well, I won't even say very good. A good veteran player, been around, seen a lot of things. I don't know why you pay him. First of all, I don't know why you give him a 4-year contract because he's been around a while. You know what I mean? He's going to be, in 4 years, he's going to be old, very old. I don't even think he'd be able to contribute at a high level anymore. In 3 years, in 2 years, you know what I mean? It's a long contract, first of all. Second of all, it's a lot of money. Like, I don't understand what the Lakers are doing with that draft, with that contract, unless it's just like, okay, nobody wants to come, so whoever is willing to come, we're gonna throw a crap load of money. So I rated that a 1. I feel like they overpaid a lot. I feel like it's nothing to make it barely any impact. It's a young team. That's a bad move. I don't get that one at all. Moving on, I rated this move a 3. Kent Bazemore to Atlanta, $70 million for 4 years. they overpaid, but it's kind of the going rate. Kent Bazemore is a very good role player. I like Bazemore. I think he's a very good defender. I think he can get you open threes. He really worked on his game. I feel like he's a hard worker. He's athletic. He has a lot of positives, and he's still relatively young. So I feel like that's a good move. 70 mil is a lot of money, but that's what's being paid out. I thought Ken Bazemore was a good free agent for a lot of teams to try to get. And when I say a lot of teams, I don't mean just middle of the road teams. I thought teams, playoff teams, teams trying to take a next level. I thought he's a good player to add to your mix, like a glue guy, a 3-and-D guy, a great, good athlete. I like Bazemore as a role player. Dwight Howard, I rated this deal a 4. Dwight Howard got $70.5 million for 3 years from the Atlanta Hawks. Now, this one's weird. I feel like Dwight Howard was just gonna go to whoever paid him the most money, to whoever didn't already write him off as a somebody who's gonna disrupt their locker room. I like this move. I think Atlanta's trying something. They signed him, and they were still trying to sign Horford. I don't know why Horford wanted to leave. I thought they could try to do some kind of twin tower situation with two bigs, with him and Horford. And Horford can stretch out a little bit, maybe not to 3-point range, but he can stretch out to give Dwight Howard space. I feel like they're on defense. I feel like they'd be a beast together. Dwight Howard and Horford on defense would be very difficult. Those two big guys protecting your rim. Anyway, that being said, Horford went on his merry way. So now it's Dwight Howard. I feel like Atlanta has some work to do. Dennis Schroeder is going to be their starting point guard. I don't know if they want to upgrade a little bit more. They're gonna need to fill some spots on that team, but I don't hate that signing. I feel like it will make that team better ultimately. I mean, Horford leaving kind of screws it up a little bit, but I mean, I don't hate that deal. I think Atlanta did okay with that. Moving on, this player is not Solomon Hill. So, obviously not like a star player, not necessarily even a great role player. But I just thought because of the amount of money this contract is, I'd mention it. Solomon Hill, I'm sure a lot of you haven't necessarily even heard of him. He was from the Indiana Pacers. And he received $52 million for 4 years from the Pelicans. I rated it a 1. I just didn't understand why they were so willing. And it was one of the first deals done. So the Pelicans ran to Solomon Hill to sign him. So I thought that was a very interesting. I guess they see something that maybe they feel like he'll fit with Anthony Davis and whoever else they pick up very well. So that's interesting. I thought that was an interesting deal. Chandler Parsons received $94 million from Memphis for 4 years. I rated this a 3. I feel like it will help if he's healthy. I feel like it'll help Memphis offensively, and Memphis is strong enough defensively to cover up kind of what Chandler Parsons leaves at the table, whatever. So I thought this was good for both teams. A lot of money. I thought they could have got him for cheaper than that, but they were kind of competing against the Blazers and I think Orlando, so they kind of had to break the bank a little bit. So whatever. That'll be good for them. Memphis's problem has always been they have always struggled offensively. Defensively, they've been a great team for the last couple of years. So the next deal I rated as a 2. Evan Turner, $70 million for 4 years from the Portland Trailblazers. I thought that deal was insane. Once again, Portland lost out on Chandler Parsons and some of their other targets. everybody they seem to target was small forward. So obviously they're trying to upgrade that small forward position. I thought they had a fairly good chance of going for Harrison Barnes. Um, I just I just figured he fit that what they do. He's not necessarily a first option. He's not necessarily a second option. He could be a second option, but I just feel like that third option role for him is perfect. And on that Portland team, that's the role he'd be in. He'd still get his touch. He flourished when it was Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and him before Draymond Green in the playoffs. He was having like a coming out party in the playoffs before they got Iguodala. Like I said, he was good when he was a third option on that team. Um, so I thought the Blazers would really make that happen with Harrison Barnes, but unfortunately, I don't even know if they offered him the max contract or whatever that he was seeking. But we'll see. Anyway, Golden State more than likely will match whatever he gets anyway. But yeah, back to Evan Turner. I rated this a 2 because I don't believe in Evan Turner's game. If any of you not watch my videos, but read the articles on ExceedTheHype.com, I don't love his game. I thought his game, the things that he's good at, are not like his skill set is not great in my opinion. So he wants to be a playmaker, it seems like, but not necessarily great at it. And then most of his offense comes from like long mid-range jumpers off the. I don't love his game at all. And then at that number, I don't feel like he's gonna feel the need that they're trying to fill with him. I just don't love that. I don't love that deal at all. I'm sad that Portland didn't get Harrison Barnes. I thought Harrison Barnes would be the absolute perfect person to fill that starting 3 role with Portland. But they got Evan Turner, so I guess we'll see what happens. That's, in my opinion, that's going to be bad. They'll be looking to trade him next year, I think. So then we have Al Jefferson, who signed on with the Pacers for $30 million for 3 years. Now, I rated this a 3. I thought this was a good pickup. Al Jefferson still, I mean, nobody plays like that anymore. I believe this is the Sacramento Kings. $30 million, 2 years. Team option both years. Oh, okay, rescinded. Okay, so moving on. Al Jefferson, yeah, nobody plays in the post. And Al Jefferson is mainly a post player or whatever. He's not great defensively. He's kind of unathletic at this point. Kind of slow moving or whatever. But I still like it for the Pacers. I feel like they're trying to create more of a conventional team with the pickups. And I think that's a good approach. Now that they have Nate McMillan, I think he's going to make a big difference. I think Nate McMillan is a good coach. He did great in Portland those years he was in Portland. I never thought they should have let him go. He did absolutely great. Year after year, he had to deal with injuries to Brandon Roy and Greg Oden and all these people. And he still had that team playing hard and competing every night or whatever. So I think he will work wonders with this Pacers team. And then this Pacers team is getting better. Their roster's getting better. So I think that's really good for the Pacers. Another one, I rated this one a 2.75. This is Bradley Beal, the $128 million 5-year deal to Washington. I mean, they had to do it. Bradley Beal, in my opinion, is not a max player. But I guess everybody's max players at this point. Yeah, I rated that as a 2.75. I guess you can't lose him because he was a key part to that team, and there was nobody to replace him with. But I just don't love that deal. If it was me as a GM, I would have been like gritting my teeth as I handed him that contract because I really would not have wanted to pay that amount. Next one is I rated this one a 3 for impact. that is Nicholas Batum. I like Nicholas Batum. He's small forward, the defender, great defender, a pretty good 3-point shooter. Um, a little bit of playmaking ability. I like that he's important for Charlotte, so they had to do this deal. So you can't lose him because there's so many teams. If he goes back to Portland, that's a great deal. Even though I know he wasn't going back to Portland, I wanted the Mavs to pick him up, and I know they offered him. Nicholas Batum is one of those type of players who will fit great in quite a few teams. So he was sought after well. Okay, so moving on. I rated this a 5, and this is DeMar DeRozan's $139 million contract for 5 years with the Raptors. I feel like he was very, very loyal to the Raptors. It makes sense because the Raptors went to the Eastern Conference Finals, and first of all, even without, I like DeMar DeRozan's game a lot. He can't shoot threes, but his mid-range game is excellent. I love watching him play. If he gets you where he wants you on the court, he's draining it every time. He's also a tremendous athlete. So, I like DeMar DeRozan's game. He may not be like a superstar type player, but he's definitely a star in this league and very, 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 very good player. The Raptors were lucky to keep him because I honestly thought he was going to the Lakers. He's from LA. There's been a lot of players talking about, this was a while ago, so I guess there's probably more to do in Toronto now. But I just remember T-Mac complaining, like, he used to complain about not having anything to do or whatever, so I guess that stuck in my head or whatever. But DeMar DeRozan is a very good player. I thought he was going to go to LA. He didn't. I thought he was going to go there and allow them to build the team around him, but he wasn't interested. He stayed in Toronto to compete. So I like that. I think they have a good team. I think they need to improve, and I haven't seen them making a whole lot of moves this offseason. But I like him staying there. They had to sign him. That team falls tremendously if he leaves. They paid him what was necessary. What was necessary? They gave him the max contract. He was going to get it anyway, so that was necessary. I like that move. They were able to get that done. So 5 out of 5. Timothy Mozgov, $64 million, 4 years, Lakers. I rated that a 2. I don't care about that really. Lakers want a rim protector. He can protect the rim. Lakers are gonna suck anyway. Rated a 2. Small impact. They may have overpaid him, but honestly, who cares? He got what he could get, basically. I read this next move 3.5. This is Joakim Noah. 72 mil, 4 years with the Knicks. They did what was necessary to get him. He's from New York. I thought they could get him cheaper than that. And plus, with his guy, Derrick Rose there, and it's a good fit. But he's coming off an injury. We don't even know, like, if he's getting older. He's coming off an injury. He had an injury-plagued season. I just don't know what to expect from him. But if we get what we think we're gonna get from him, if he goes to the Knicks and provides, that leadership, the defense, the great defense, the passing out of the post, the things he was good at that everybody loved him in Chicago for. If he could bring that same stuff, the engine, to the Knicks, I really feel he may not be worth the 72 mil, but it'll definitely be a good sign on. I thought that was the best center they can go after. The next one, I rated this a 3.5 as well. It's Courtney Lee, $50 million, 4 years with the Knicks. Not a bad contract. I like Courtney Lee a lot. Good shooter, great defender. I like the move. I think he's a good glue guy. I think he's a good guy to have on your team. I like that move. I think Courtney Lee is a good player. He's going to be their starting shooting guard. He's probably the best option that was out there, and I think he gels well because he's not somebody who's going to demand a lot of shots, a lot of touches. He's gonna get open looks because if Derrick Rose is any good next year, he's gonna command a lot of attention. Carmelo's gonna command a lot of attention. The young boy, he's gonna command a lot of attention. So it's interesting. I think that was a good signing. I don't hate the contract either. And then the last one I'm going to talk about a little bit is Eric Gordon. Signed with the Rockets. This was a surprise to me. $53 million, 4 years. I rated it a 3. I mean, I thought he could have got more money than that. There's a lot of players worse. They got more money than 53 mil. I thought he was going to go to Memphis. He did not go to Memphis. I guess Memphis didn't have the money to pay him. Before Courtney Lee signed, I thought the Knicks had a good chance of getting him to play in that shooting guard position next to Derrick Rose. I guess they had more so their eye on Courtney Lee because they were thinking more basketball at this point, more than names. So, the Rockets got him. And I don't understand why the Rockets got him. They already have James Harden, who plays a lot of minutes at that position. So makes me wonder what's the plan. Like, James Harden does have the ball a lot. I don't know if they plan on just running him as the point now. It's odd. It's a very, very, very odd situation in Houston right now, what they're doing with their Rockets team. But anyway, yeah, I rated it a 3. I thought it was an odd move, but we'll see what happens. So let's talk about the Knicks a little bit. I like what they did, especially the last couple moves. Joakim Noah and Courtney Lee adding that to that team with Derrick Rose, Carmelo, and Porzingis, the young boy. We'll see what happens with this team. They will need to fill out their bench a little bit more. I think the most important thing for them to do at this point is to get a backup point guard. I thought DJ Augustine would have been a good choice. He did go to Orlando. They have to get out there and find a good backup point guard. Who knows? Maybe Ish Smith signed with Detroit, so he's not going to even be available. But a backup point guard is the first need. That's going to be very, very important for them. With that being the case, I do think the Knicks will be a top 4 team in the Eastern Conference next year. The Celtics outlook, unless they make another move, in my opinion, I don't think they got that much better. Al Horford is a very good player. However, I feel like they need more than just Al Horford. He's going to provide them with some looks in the post, and I guess he will be like the first or second option on offense. But even with that being the case, I just don't think it makes them as good as a lot of people believe. Another thing, the Mavericks were able to sign nobody at this point. Hassan Whiteside stated that he was going to stay in Miami. Obviously, after that news, Conley wasn't interested in Dallas anymore. Nobody chose Dallas. Now Dallas is trying to sign Harrison Barnes to a max contract, which I thought was very odd because it's kind of like, okay, you didn't even get anybody. So you have Dirk, you have Darren Williams isn't even under contract, which probably isn't the worst thing in the world. But yeah, Dallas is not a free agent, does not attract free agents at all anymore. So I thought that was odd. And also the other few things I want to talk about was the players in the draft. So Ben Simmons came out. A lot of people are comparing them to LeBron James and things of that nature. In my opinion, I think Ben Simmons will fall somewhere between Derrick Williams and Lamar Odom at the top. So I feel like worst case scenario, he's kind of like Derrick Williams in that not a great shooter, wants to be a playmaker, but not necessarily that great at it. That's what I kind of fear, you know what I mean? But I think at his best, I think he could be closer to Lamar Odom, which is a situation where you could do a lot of things, hell of a rebounder, not that great of a scorer. Not necessarily a great shooter, but a good passer and a very good rebounder. I think that's probably where he would fall. Brandon Ingram, he's interesting. I call him Stretch Armstrong because of the freakishly long arms. I did think he was a little bit taller than he was. He's listed at 6'9", but I thought it was the Kevin Durant thing where he's like really closer to 6'11", where in actuality it looked like he's a little bit shorter than 6'9". So I thought that was a little bit odd, but I do think Brandon Ingram will be a pretty good player. I don't know. This is the thing when it comes to rookies. You don't. A lot of people don't compare these rookies to attainable people. You know what I mean? That people said Ben Simmons was LeBron, and they're saying Brandon Ingram is Kevin Durant. I don't think he's going to be Kevin Durant. I think he does have a chance to be good with the team he's going on. That Lakers team won't be great. I also don't understand. That's another reason I don't understand why they got Luol Deng for what. He's probably Brandon Ingram is going to end up getting most of the minutes at that position. So with that being the case, I don't even know why you signed Luol Deng. That's just ridiculous. Moving on. There was Chris Dunn drafted. There was an international player at number 3 that I don't know a whole lot about. And then there was Chris Dunn, I believe, at 4. Another international player, I think it was Sabonis' son. And then, if I'm remembering it,